when there has been, are some problems or issues starting to emerge about him as a person, then sometimes what the Chinese government or Xi Jinping himself has to do is to just make a swift judgment and remove this person from the public.
Qin Gang has now been officially dismissed as the Chinese foreign minister less than 7 months after he was appointed. William Yang is a freelance China correspondent who's written about this story for The Times. He was last seen in public at the end of June, so why did he suddenly disappear?
So until this morning today, there is still no certain explanation, either from the Chinese government or any hints that might suggest the real reason behind the removal that took place yesterday. All we can try to piece together is the very little clues, including the so-called health reason that has been persistently put forward by the Chinese government. But at the same time, if we go back into the handling of these kind of incidents inside the Chinese Communist Party, we could conclude that the removal of all the information about him on the Foreign Ministry's website would suggest that there is an ongoing investigation into something that he has done during his tenure or even before then. And then, of course, once the investigation is concluded, maybe he will also be taken off the title that he still holds, which is the state counselor that he currently still plays the role, and the information on that website has not been removed.
And what's interesting is that prior to becoming foreign minister, he'd enjoyed a pretty seamless rise by the sounds of it through the Chinese Communist Party. So what went wrong?
So experts and longtime correspondents covering China, we all kind of believe that this he's a seamless rise through the ranks, basically breaking the tradition that has long been upheld by the Communist Party due to his close relationship and the trust that he has earned by the Chinese leader Xi Jinping, reflects the overall very lack of collective decision making in terms of these important personnel appointments. So when there has been, are some problems or issues starting to emerge about him as a person, then sometimes what the Chinese government or Xi Jinping himself has to do is to just make a swift judgment and remove this person from the public. But this kind of abrupt removal of one of the very few public figure who, like the foreign minister of China, who has a lot of interaction with the international community, just raises a lot of questions. And the opacity of this whole handling, again, is not working in China's favor, because it will have a lot of negative impact on how other countries view their own relationship with China and the engagement with China going forward.
And he has now been formally replaced, William. Who's taking over? And also, could this signal any change in Chinese foreign policy?
So the person that's replacing him is the former foreign minister who only stepped down at the end of last year. And Wang Yi was the foreign minister for China for more than 10 years. And at the same time, he is still in charge of foreign policy on the Chinese Communist Party side. So now he is both in charge of foreign policy on the party side and the government side. Most of the analysis believe that this, in fact, is going to help the execution of China's foreign policy. There will be more consistency rather than inconsistency, because the two roles are now held by the same person. And we all believe that there will not be much changes to the actual direction of China's foreign policy. They will still focus on putting forward Xi Jinping and engagement with other countries through Xi Jinping as the way to increase China's influence around the world. And one of the priority now is definitely the upcoming APEC Leaders Summit in San Francisco at the end of the year, because that's where we are expecting another important meeting between Xi Jinping and Joe Biden.